the more we change, the more we stay the same. We are still slaves as we have always been. Mankind has always been slaves, and we have no power. And the reason we have no power, and Americans have no power to do anything, and most people know that. And the reason we have no power is because knowledge is power, and we have no knowledge. We don't know our butt from a hole in the ground. We have no idea in the world what a Republican is. We have no idea what the word democracy means. We have no concept of how America was founded and who the people were and where the money came from, and how America is a corporation out of India, and that the whole United States of America comes out of the Hindu India. The British East India Company is a corporation, and out of that corporation came another company called the United States Corporation. And we have no idea about any of this, how the world works. And so what I've always said is that people do not understand how the world works. But I'll guarantee you one thing. I've been studying this stuff for 53 years, and what little bit I know. That's why I say I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything. I know how much I don't know. But I do know how much the world doesn't know. So I don't see any hope for a better life for America or for the world. What I see as a light at the end of the tunnel is a train coming, because the world we live in is way too complex and way too ignorant and ill-informed and self-centered and egotistical and downright stupid. And you cannot, and I've been trying to educate people for 53 years by lecturing and talking to people in libraries and clubs and small groups, and the more I do it, I'm on radio, and then I get on television, and I've been doing this for 53 years, and I can tell you it's pretty much hopeless, because trying to educate the human race is like trying to empty the Pacific with a cup. There's a tsunami of human ignorance and stupidity that loves to wallow in stupidity. We just love. One of the great European economists, he wrote in one of his books, I'm trying to remember his name right now, but he wrote in the book many years ago that the people of every nation in every time of history, every age of history, and all nations and all countries of the world, humans have always supported a dictator. They have always supported a dictator. They are supporting dictators today, and they always will support a dictator, because that's in the very nature of the human creature, man and woman. It's in our human nature to support a dictator. We see that in our worship of movie stars and Donald Trumps and Obamas and Jimmy Carters, and we love to be in the presence of power and famous people, while actually the famous people are nothing but criminals. They're fascists and Nazi communists, filthy, degenerate murderers and criminals. They're on drugs. They're mentally deranged. They're inbred. They're raping and plundering behind the scenes and on their drugs and killing and planning murders and overtaking, ripping off people and stealing. But we love it. The humans love to crawl on their knees to the emperor, and we want to be in everybody wants to crowd in and see the Queen Mom, the Queen, when she rides by in her gold chariot. We would just, wave our hands to try and see the Queen. We want to be in to see the castle when the prince gets married. So the more we change, the more we stay the same. We're still the ignorant creation that somebody created a long time ago, and that's a whole new subject in itself. Who created us, and where do we really come from? What's really in the Bible, not what you thought was there. So anyway, I can sit and talk for hours because I've been doing it for 50 years. And I realize and I understand that people hearing me, for the most part, I would say the overwhelming majority of people who hear me in this world have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I haven't got the faintest idea in the world what the hell is Jordan Maxwell talking about. It hasn't got nothing to do with anything of any actual, importance, like football or basketball or Paris Hilton getting laid or anything that is important to us. And it ain't got nothing to do with Obama saving the whole world and being Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with your work and where you work and the beer you're drinking. So, and the basketball score, and the Dodgers are playing this weekend. So what is Jordan Maxwell talking about? Well, I'm talking about the ultimate conclusion of the human experiment on the earth is screwed. It's over. We have come to the end of an age. We've come to the end of the Piscean age, the Kali Yuga of the ancient Hindus. We've come to a time in the human history of the earth when all of our bullshit is finally coming home. And God help the world for what's coming now. Because we live like animals, we think like animals, we're about as ignorant as an animal, and therefore our world is crumbling in front of us with pollution, violence, wars. Your air is not fit to breathe, the food is contaminated, your politics and your leaders are all corrupt. The whole world lies in the power of the wicked one, like the scripture says, and there is not one that knows where he's going. So I realize that what I do and the kind of things I talk about, most people are going to hear me and think, who is this airhead, this old man that's belly aching about something? But what goes around comes around, and there will come a day when Americans and the world in general, human race in general, will begin to perceive that we have taken the wrong road a long time ago. And then that scripture will then apply where God says thousands of years ago, you should go back to the old way. Go back to the old way and let God's kingdom, the zodiac, understand it. Understand how the world really works. One other thing I would give you an example of how I think. If you own, and I know that people probably have heard this before, but I think it bears witness again, that if you have a two-story building and you're going to put a lot of weight on the second floor, like printing presses and heavy equipment, before you do that, if you've got any sense at all, you should call a building inspector and go downstairs and get on a ladder and remove the ceiling tiles from the first floor and look at the foundation of the floor to see what you're building on. Before you go put no heavy weight on it, you better go downstairs and look at the floor and see if it's going to hold that kind of weight before you go building on it. So what you're doing is you're standing downstairs, you're standing under the foundation you're building on. So you're standing under to get understanding. So if you haven't stood under the world of stupidity and ignorance and spent many years studying the occult and the wisdom of the ancients and how the world works, then you don't have understanding until you stand under the world that you live in.